I'm glad to be back again to Health Circumference YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Chinonye Otuka, and today we will be talking on a very sensitive topic. We all know the unrest that has happened in our country, the EndSARs protest. We are aware of the outcome, and today we'll be talking on very few topics. We're going to talk on short-term and long-term goals, perseverance among the youth. Now I'll be focusing on certain points of mine, and I believe after this discussion, it's going to help us. We're going to sit back and appraise ourselves and know what and what to do in this next phase. Whether we like it or not, there's a next wave coming. We all know that this protest, this is not the end. It's just the beginning. So there's need for us to draw back, re-strategize, appraise ourselves, know what to do in this next phase. What are the steps we're going to take? What are the strategies? What are the systems we have to put in place so that the government this time would not blindside us and have to listen to us? So the first thing I want to speak on is that I want to encourage everyone that we should not be weary. Yes, we've lost so many persons. We've lost a lot of youth. We should not be weary. We should persevere. We should know that we set out to achieve something. There was a set goal in front of us. We had a focus. We had a reason. It was not the EndSARS protest was not one person's idea. The EndSARS protest was a cry for help from every youth. So it wasn't someone's idea, it wasn't someone's vision. It's a hidden or a burden that has been hidden somewhere in the heart of every youth. So God being faithful, we spoke as one and were heard all over the world. So we should not stop. We can still do our protests. Thank God for social media. We can still do protests on social media. The first thing that's the very first point I want to talk on. Let us persevere. Let us continue doing what we're doing. Let us keep at it. At this point, we should be doing in social media. Thank God for our brothers and sisters in diaspora. They are still going on, doing the march, speaking up. And I think in Nigeria now, everyone, because of the curfew almost all the states, it seems as if there's a drawback. No, it is just a time for us to sit back and self-appraise ourselves. Self-appraise ourselves. I repeat, it's self-appraise ourselves. We should sit back and say, what did we set out to do? This point, this EndSARS process, we came out as one. We're just screaming for help. But this time we should do it strategically. We should sit back. What did we set out to do? There was a 5-point agenda that became a 7-point agenda. We should go back and say, what did you set out to do? What was the thing that we did not bank on? What was the thing that we did not think will happen? We all know the thing we didn't think will happen. These hoodlums that came up to hijack the protest. Now, the next question is, what are we going to do differently? What are the systems in place to prevent our next step or our next movement or our next plan from being hijacked? This time it might not be hoodlums. Who knows what is going to come up next? You understand? No, we don't know we don't know the unforeseen circumstance or the unforeseen circumstance that we'll meet in our next step. As I said, the next phase. So we should sit down and say, what are we going to do? What are we going to change? Or what are we going to do better? Now, the third point I want to speak on is now, what can we do from the very point that we are? Everybody from the very point. What do I mean by that? Okay, me, I'm a medical doctor. What can I do from my place of work or from my place of assignment to make our vision, making Nigeria a place where the son of a nobody can become somebody without knowing anybody? What can I do differently from my place of work? You, maybe the next person might be an accountant. What can you do from the bank, or what can you do from your accounting firm to make sure that the systems are being put in place so that people can be responsible for their actions? That is the Nigeria we want. We want a Nigeria where you, after finishing, after completing, after being a graduate or after graduating from a course, you can walk up to any place, apply, and you're being taken by merit, not by who you know. What can you do? In most states, we're having the ongoing local government election. As youths, will you sell your votes because someone gives you some 200,000? That's even a stretch. Will you sell your vote? What can you do differently in this election, this ongoing the state election, be it governorship, yeah, or the local government chairman, the councillor? What can you do as a youth to make your voice heard? That's what I mean. What can you do from your standpoint, where you are now, where we are now, at this very point? What can you do differently? Because if everybody begins to take one positive step, I think we are closer to our aim than yesterday. If everybody begins to do one positive thing, like this ongoing local government election, someone comes and says, okay, take this and vote for me. You say no. You ask the person, what will you do different, or what will you do for your local government constituency to make the life of the people better? Someone who doesn't have a plan, who doesn't have a purpose, whose sole plan is no plan, you won't vote for that. You won't give your vote to that kind of person. That's what I mean. What can you do at this point? You are the clinical director or the head of a unit in your place of work, and it's time to recruit staff, and you know that there are 5 people who should get this position on merit, and you have 3 who they are paying you something to give the job. What can you do at this point to make those 5 people who deserve the job to get the job without knowing anybody? That is a short-term goal that is achievable. We don't need the government intervention in this. We just need to be sure that we actually want a better Nigeria. What are the long-term goals? We should sit down and strategize. This EndSARs protest started as nobody is leading anyone. We're just speaking. We want our voice to be heard. Now, in each of the states, we should have I will call it a representative or a spokesperson from each of the states. There should be a meeting, a youth party, whatever we can call it, youth meeting, where we sit down and say, okay, what is the next phase? What are we going to do next in this? What is our next step in this next phase? Now, this is a time for strategic planning, not crowd planning. Strategic planning. We have an agenda. This and this and this and this and this. Yes, we've come out, we've spoken with one voice, and we're not heard. What can we do better to make the government really listen to us? This is one thing. We should sit down and say, what next? What is the next phase? After sitting down and getting pointers for the next phase, then the next thing I'm going to speak about is self-appraisal. What did we do wrong that brought us like 5 steps backwards? If the challenge we had was the government's massacre, we would have won. Now the challenge we're having is this hoodlums, and it seems as if it's the youth. So it seems as if we are divided. So what can we do? What is our strategy? What is the way forward? After the first point, persevere. What are short-term, long-term? What is the way forward? First, I said we should have representatives or spokesmen or spokeswomen in each state in the federation, where we will meet. The meeting might be virtual or might be physical. We'll meet and we sit down and strategize. Yes, initially the EndSARS protest was, we were speaking up, everybody was crying for the government to hear. Now we have to re-strategize. We have spokesperson representing each state in the federation. We sit down. What are we going to do? What are strategies? Are we going to focus on the 5-term agenda or the 7-term agenda? Whatever decision is. Then my second point is self-appraisal. We should sit back and say, what did we do wrong? What didn't we see? What are the steps that we took for granted that brought us to this point? If we can sit down and think on these two, I'm very positive that we'll have plans or strategies to move forward in the next phase of this EndSARS process. Okay, I will stop here for now, and I'll come back again with more pointers on how we'll move forward in this next phase of the protest. And before I go, I just want to do a quick recap of the points I spoke on. The first thing I said was the EndSARS protest was a good move. It was strategic, it was timely. That's the first thing I said. The second thing I said was that the youth should persevere. It's not the time for us to retreat. It's the time for us to sit back and reassess our strategies, reassess what we set our course. What was our set goal? What was our intention? It's time for us to reassess. I spoke on short-term and long-term goals, which I said talking on. We should have spokesmen or representative in each federation of the states, where they will sit and discuss strategies and plans. I also said that in this meeting we should have self-appraisal. What do I mean by that? What did we set out to achieve? What happened along the way? What are the strategies, or what are the things we missed that brought us back, or that caused that it made the protest seem as if there's a halt? For self-appraisal. And if we really sit down and really dig into these 2 points, and I'm positive, I'm very positive that we'll have plans, system in place to help us through the next phase of this protest. My name remains Dr. Chinoye Otuka. Thank you, Nurse Mary, for this rare privilege. I don't take it for granted. Stay blessed.